there she is. There's our girl. Well, I understand you're the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant, and a woman, no less.
Ooh.
The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify.
I am so sorry, guys. This is a very accurate representation of the values of the time. Yes, I fully understand. I only ask for 5 minutes of time. You should be asking for 100 years. When the fucking culture is more woke. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense.
Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But, Your Excellency!
I am most grateful. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something? Written in English. It's Giselle Brett's research. Ah, the Englishwoman's. After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper. It's not going to need it anymore. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, of course not. Special characteristics of curare and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Let me see that. Aw, it's not in the court records. Curare? What's that? I've never heard of that word before.
Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
I don't trust anybody who says female so casually. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on the note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful. Thank you. Goodbye then, and good luck. Ugh. We cannot detain our English cast any longer. Yeah, okay, just let me, I'm gonna look at something. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region used it since ancient times. Instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its inability to render the human body paralytic, it is believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present the court? I presume not, but... Objection! Objection, Your Honor.
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett?
Yes, Your Excellency.
If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline.
Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. Yeah, well... So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? My university collar pin, Your Honor. No, I'm just kidding. It's this.
Yes!
Miss Giselle Brett, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yume University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison. What? It's weird how you have no objections to women, getting an education. Or maybe, is that only how you feel about Japanese women? Fucking... Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel? A toxin known as curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
What? What complete and utter nonsense? Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it.
You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. I knew it! I was right! It was, because it was a poison not in Japan. That's why they couldn't find any proof of poison. It doesn't exist. Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison.
What?
Order! Order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows.
The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. Wait, turn of this century or turn of last century? It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery. These aspersions are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of the so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and other diners would have surely noticed.
That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean the other way around?
The very fact the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that curare was used. Explain yourself, counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. Not even rapid eye movement. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. He'd also shit himself. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson had, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just plain paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
That's hideous.
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. Horrifying. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly Kirara poison. How awful. Did he at least die painlessly? To shreds, you say? Well, how is his wife holding up? To shreds, you say? And your suggestion that this bottle, Council, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection!
This is all very convenient, is it? A hitherto unknown poison, for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense.
If I may.
All these facts, you think you're so clever, but you must be taught so...
It is you who must be taught.
Of course.
I hate this guy. So, this is how you Japanese behave, isn't? What? You steal another artist's hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. Oh no, you're thinking of white people. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Ooh. Yeah. Whatever do you mean? You stole tea from Asia! You didn't invent tea. Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Anus. Wouldn't you agree? Heinous. Anus. Anus.
Objection!
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules.
What's so funny?
Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett. May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Yes, I don't see. Why not? It was administered via Blue Dart. Don't get too big for your boots, if you insignificant little island boys. Sorry. To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers! What are you doing? Fake. Fake, she like... No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Sparkling cyanide. Oh wait, Agatha Christie wasn't... She wasn't born yet. Or if she was, she wasn't an author yet. Goodness, whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned. It's like the opposite of what happened in the trial where Phoenix Wright was framed for murder. And, like, Mia said, take some of this medicine if it's not poison. It's the opposite. So, no curare. The bottle was clean, is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy, but of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Findings of your research? Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Let me look at that core record one more time. Yes, Miss Brett. Carbonated water. Not on the bottle anymore. In the bottle. Let me just... Look at that. As an anesthetic, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis. Inflicted by a blowpipe dart. So, it wouldn't have been ingested, it was injected. Yes, Miss Brett. I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade, racist, will make for interesting conversation at the next party I intend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle. Doesn't there? Who translated this? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Wait. Think outside the... Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water. Let me save first. It has poison. It was a trick. The culprit did put Kirara poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection!
Fool, are you blind? There's no possible way the bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just
Saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it.
That's right.
Which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained.
How exactly?
I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. Has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this poison water unscathed? Let me just examine this first. Is the last drink a little left? Okay, nothing has changed. It has to be the book. It has to be.
Yes!
Take that. The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
That's not a valid explanation.
No.
After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency.
I'm not trying to ridicule anyone. Honest. Just reading Susato-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle? Special characteristics. Practical applications? It's gotta be one of those. Special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this curare poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, counsel? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever the prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please.
But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Unless... Good gracious, counsel, no, that would be madness. Unless the poison... but I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. It doesn't affect you if you ingest it, but it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. You could have just opened with that.
What?
Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew Kirara's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself.
You meddling little rapscallion!
Well, Renosuke, it turns out... Oh, bedroom eyes. You're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me?
A lawyer?
Objection!
Oh, this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it possibly...
So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, Kirara is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastrous suck. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers, what are they? So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? Yeah, he just had dental work done. So, like, let me just check. Post-mortem report, medical report card. This is clearly some record of some medical treatment, and there's an entry for the date the professor was killed. Extraction with the use of anesthesia. Extraction? So he had a tooth out. Yes, it sounds like just before he went for lunch, Dr. Wilson had to have a decayed tooth removed. Probably used laughing gas so he couldn't feel anything. It's the latest medical advancement in the West. Yes, I've heard people talking about this new idea of anesthetic. It's impossible to imagine not being able to feel pain, though. There's a cautionary note at the end from whoever wrote this. It says, no food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
Ah! That's right!
Good gracious. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? I have, an argument. Order in the court. Logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest...
Yes, this Kirara poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial.
That's right. Huh. Surely even a cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. Objection, Your Honor. What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey. Oh.
Objection!
Yeah, he said it, boy! He said it! Woohoo! I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Huh. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you, you must provide compelling evidence. As we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Kirara? Medical report.
Take that!
Ha ha ha! As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference? Whew. The toxic effects of Kirara are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But, what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water?
Inside?
Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example.
Ah!
this, Brett. You've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate it. He orchestrated it. He defecated through a sunroof. Is she laughing? Oh, I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are all so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip. Okay. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed.
No!
What is it? What just happened? Okay, well, now you're going to jail for destruction of evidence. Officer, what are you waiting for? Lift up as much of the water from that broken bottle as once. You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. Sure, that would be prove your guilt, because you fucking... It's like, you can't prove that I killed it because I destroyed the murder weapon. Okay, why did you destroy the murder weapon? How could you?
You won't get away with this.
You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle or not. That's stupid. And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Oh, come on, we have just as much evidence you did it as I did. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution?
Oh, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady.
That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No! You killed the victim that day, using Kirari. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hitting gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence.
Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's chance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
This is unbelievable. How can this be happening?
We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it?
The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke. Yes, we've come this far, but now, you're the only one who can finish it.
What? What do you mean?
We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there is any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend upon. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt. Every color, every smell. What did you remember? What I saw, what I felt. Every color. Blood. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? There's a clue. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have discovered another clue. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Rinosuke? Come on, then. Let's wipe that smug smile off that Englishwoman's face with some evidence. All right. I can't wait. It's been, I'm not saying that word, for me a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is... Bloodstain.
Take that!
Inspector Osanaga, answer me this. Yes? Or what is it? He's still miles away. Probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Objection!
Wait a minute! Where are you going with it?
Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. One more thing. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a splattering of blood.
What?
Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him.
Ah!
Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter, which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Giselle Brett! I beg your pardon?
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something that the accused apparently just remembered seeing?
Hold it!
Of course not, which is what... Oh, hey. This. This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean... Yes, I took the plate, in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. You did what? I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now! I doubt blood testing existed at this point. Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered, the steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it?
Of course there isn't.
Quickly, Inspector, the blood man. The blood man, show us the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. Damn it, no blood. No. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no! That's impossible! I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. That was the steak that, What an unbecoming expression, little boy. Wait, is that song real? You see, this is why I say you can't trust... I'll never forgive the Japanese. Yeah! I could... Bro, I fucking hate you. Racist to your own race. I believe we may have finally reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. This pretend attempt at court proceedings is painful to watch. I do promise my best to forget all about it when it's over.
This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest.
Okay. Gladly. Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of imagination? Nothing on the back. Juices. Beef. Well, I died, This is it now. I've lost. Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself? Really? Huh. Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way. Examine it thoroughly. This emblem on the side of the plate. Is it a cat? It's a cow, obviously. Most likely because the restaurant's signature dish is beefsteak. It seems a lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. So this is the symbol of La Carnival, is it? Oh! Huh? What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Koei era. No, I don't mean what is it. I mean what's it doing here? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion and bullion, and I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means... Oh my god. I presume any further examination of this trial will be unnecessary. Objection! Does the defense have any objection? That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? There's another clue. Your Excellency, please, wait! This plate of beef is hiding another clue! Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth!
Objection!
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beefsteak.
Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brell, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly informed ally of my country, that's still your opinion, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency.
Counsel for the defense, you have now clearly showed to the council what you are deluding. Where precisely on this plate of beefsteak is this new clue to be found?
Under the beef. Under the beef. Meat on the bone. On the meat bone. On the bone meat. Huh? Do I have to fucking do this again? There. Son of a bitch! Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. A rubber room with rats. A rubber room with rubber rats. Rats drive me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. A rubber room with rats. They locked me in a rubber room with rubber rats. Rats drive me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. A rubber room with rats. They locked me in a rubber room with rubber rats. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. A rubber room. A room. Good gracious! That's
a Koban?
what on earth? A Hoeyera one at that. Miss Brett. This is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant of the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
Shut up!
What a ridiculous question! How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what it is, but I want no part of it.
Objection!
I fancy how this is irrelevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction.
Objection!
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen. Oops, I dropped my fucking... I dropped my Hoeyera coin in the beef. That's like a modern-day shitpost. Oops, I dropped a Chinese bronze pig. A rare Hoey Kaban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. You think a man just happens to fall like that? No, he orchestrated it. If this turns out to be relevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. I already know what's going on. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel. A rare Hoey Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be relevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now. Wait, what?
Objection!
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that that it is you who is irrelevant. Even though I'm the one on trial here. The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what's doing under that desk. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beefsteak is this guy.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antique stealer and owner of Rasute, Kurio Korakuta-san. Kuri? As in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier on the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoeyera Koban, my prized coin. This Hoeyera Koban? Do you mean to tell me?
Objection!
No, please. Why would Korakuta-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense.
Yes!
Which is why I'm asking to bring Korakuta-san back to the stand, so we can ask him. Okay, still recording, sounds still good. It sucks out here, dude. Officer! Bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. I would like to call all my surprise witnesses again. I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it's a key element in the case. All of them at once. Oh my god.
What is this all about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize that it's dinner time for little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless, withered antique. No, don't say that. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Rasu Top's owner's existence. God, that's fucking bleak, dude. Be it as it may, Korakuta-san, something has come to light that requires your attention. Clarification. As far as your Rashite memory serves, have you ever seen... Whoa! Oh my god! Oh, but you got fucking stabbed in the foot! That's it, the one! The very exact one that it is! The resplendent, splendiferous away treasure that my rusty bones managed to displace that fateful day.
It can't be.
As I thought. Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Pull me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking up in the seasoned meat's juices. A sandwich? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. It was the fucking general, because it was his beefsteak. Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure beneath a slab of meat and a metal plate. Who would do such a thing? Such an inconceivable thing? Excuse me? Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Osanaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover at the restaurant in order to investigate another case.
Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation.
La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flesh out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korakuta-san's Koban is all too clear.
What?
What? It was... I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Korabuta's steak? It was him.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Yasunosa.
What? How dare you monster!
Monster? Alright, I mean,
I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master of the carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me. It was Ido. Ido was the mastermind behind all this.
What? You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It is you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa!
Ah! Clap, 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 clap.
Oh my god, it's a Ratatouille. It's...
Ah! My fucking back!
And then the baby says, yes, it was I! What?
Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Yasunosa, preparing to stand down at the Supreme Court, sir.
What the fuck, man? So clearly...
Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays at those it expects to keep our country safe?
Well, you understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. And I've heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. I would just resign.
All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my own son.
That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant.
A place that's heaving with money. Every 3 days I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time.
So it was your steak. It was your steak. Sounds like he doesn't even bother with a knife and a fork even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man and his koban?
Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all.
A veritable phantom thief you are. We are the Phantom Thieves.
I was all set to leave the steak when I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Bang!
Oh,
Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I know too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could. On the double, I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date.
it was your steak. This is not the woman's steaks, which means that the woman's steak, that's the steak with the blood. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd flatulence in your own time. Well, Miss Brett.
Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to continue any longer at all.
Praise the sun. Bonk.
May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency.
No, objection, 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 objection. Objection, Your Honor. First of all, the prosecution gets no bitches. Second of all, we still haven't seen the actual lady's steak. The theft of the coupon was clearly perpetrated by this baby saddle sergeant, who would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Objection! Of course it is. Hiding a coin in a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? Come on, use your smoking gun. Well, And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Does this game think we are a baby with no object permanence? We know what the point of finding the coin was. The point of finding the coin was that it was underneath. No, was that this is the wrong steak. This is not the steak with the blood on it. I see no further justice for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. Objection! And good day. Now I'm sweating. I'm in a cold sweat, just like fucking Ryunosuke. Look at that. Look at that expression. He's the sheer audacity, the caucasity of this bitch. What's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just something about Miss Brett's pardon words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett! What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time. There's something I'd like to ask you. Oh, don't tell me. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your pardon words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection!
What student nonsense is this?
Well, what pardon words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yeah, it was his steak, which means it wasn't your steak. Are you telling me we needed a fucking revelation? We should have been like, why do we need to go through this just to prove I'm mad? What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see evidence, counsel. Yeah, her evidence. Let's look at the, this. Oh, fuck. It's the steak. Oh, yeah. It's her, but she said your steak. The steak that Miss Brett had to be eaten before the professor was killed, yes. Go on. This is not her steak! Oh, God, everyone in this courtroom is so slow. More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed.
Now you're just splitting hairs. Shut the fuck up, Archie. Don't give me any of your shit.
Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural?
Unnatural? What on earth do you mean?
It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. Oh, what the fuck are you talking about, Ryunosuke? I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Noticed it exactly, Counsel. Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork.
Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself.
Then take a good look at the steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten. Fucking balls in my walls. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there.
Ah.
Ooh.
Ah.
It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. That's not her steak, you dumb motherfucker! I lack object permanence. Could you please explain to me, why this is... So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife or fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
What is your actual point? That's what I've been trying to say! What the fuck, Ryunosuke? Why are you... whatever you say, dear lady.
As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer.
Of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place.
I've heard enough.
You irritating little spectacle summarize relic. Of course.
What's the matter, Miss Britt? Have you ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She has realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her.
It's not her steak! Just say it's not her steak! Why?
Is this game for babies? Is this game made for babies with no object permanence who cannot make any deductive reasoning on their side of their own? Do you know where we're going with this? Yes, now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. It's not her steak! The reason why the blood stain I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. It's not her steak! More importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that the teeth marks are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us everything, Your Excellency? I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase, typical Japanese empty threats. Just give me on to the fucking... It's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Yeah, for once I fucking agree with her. The evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought to the court yet. Oh, finally.
Hasn't been what?
But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
Objection!
This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it.
I don't have it, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well, I have a feeling this will be my last request to the defense in this trial.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's it. No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this steak with the teeth marks. Yes. Like, I'm pretty sure the coin should have been enough evidence to prove that this wasn't her steak. Why do we have to pay attention to the teeth marks? The coin! The coin! Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korakuda-san's coin, he told us that he'd slipped it under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak?
Attention. Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentlelady if she'd mind me manhandling her meat. Sorry, manhandling her meal to hide. No, fuck it. Manhandling her meal to bite something in it. In other words, the steak that the defendant submitted as evidence earlier. I wouldn't mind manhandling a woman's meat. Hello? Okay, so I just got news. I'm going to be euthanized tomorrow. It was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection!
But that makes no sense! That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor does she have any opportunity to steal the coin. But of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Yeah, someone from the British Empire stealing artifacts from another country? Who could even conceive that happening? Well then, how do you explain this paradox?
Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over.
It wasn't the sergeant. It was the lady. I mean, we don't have to prove that the steaks were switched. We already know that the steak was switched. Don't have to prove who it was that's...
You did switch the plates!
Well, after it happened,
when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak to lift the coin underneath it. But then when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab meat, that'd be it. I'd begin my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. Why didn't you just pocket the coin?
You're a lousy thief, dude. Where's Arsene Lupin? Huh? If you have Herlock Sholmes, you should have Arsene Lupin. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table. What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing.
It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There is no time for strategic planning. I was do or die, I tell you, so yes, I did what had to be done. Unbelievable!
I want this to
However, fear not, Prosecutor-san. What now? I swear on the brass buttons on my uniform, that was all I did, sir. All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant!
Yes!
Oh shit, sorry. So, if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and penis. Sorry, and the plate it was on back to his own penis. Yes, that falls. We thank the Lord for this bountiful penis. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Early in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That, to preserve evidence, you had taken both. Ah! God, we did not need to go through, like, what I imagine, 2 pieces of evidence to prove that. We should have just said, I would like to examine both the steaks. You mentioned both the steaks, like, oh, but, like, that should have been the first thing. Like, oh, there's no blood on this plate? Well, then bring the other plate. We didn't have to fucking, god damn it! And please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment when he was shot.
Shut up!
What could Bob possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat. We can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Objection!
If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. You're not wriggling your way out of this time, lady.
I beg your pardon?
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem to you. No? Huh, you're the one who decided it was a problem, not me. Then surely you'll have no problem. Gah! Thinks he remembers. Then let's prove it! Just come on, dude! I'm sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. This whole argument's just nuh-uh. Fuck you mean nuh-uh. Objection, no bitches. Objection, no money. No bitches, no evidence, no witnesses. There was a clear splattering of blood from the court shot wound to the victim's chest. Oh, I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. Did I shit my pants? Or am I just really sweaty? You ever get that? You ever just like feel so sweaty that you can't tell if you shit your pants or not? My ass is too moist. Yes, sir. Sorry for keeping you. Here is the other steak on its plate. Look, blood. Please feel free to examine it. Look, blood. The blood stain. It's clearly visible. Look.
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he wasn't facing the table, with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim. Oh! That can't be. In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right, Miss Giselle Brett. It's you! Don't tell me she's gonna say, but I don't have a gun. Outdone by a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No! 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 She's laying eggs. What the fuck? I guess you could call that a swan song. Your Honor, can I keep these birds? Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life using curare. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had an influence appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. Very risky plan. If you had like a cut on your lip or whatever, you'd be dead too. So you plan to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because curare is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would be all over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happen to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of curare in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt.
Fucking under your skirt?
Fucking knew it. There were two guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Placed where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I had intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up... Bang. That's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor in his chair around. Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency? Yes? I wonder. Now, might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. Don't do it, Your Honor. She's gonna bribe you with, her... Don't let yourself be... I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san. Be gone, thought! It would seem that this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement?
This can't be. Tatsukushi Alchi does not lose.
First,
Not your likes of this rookie student.
two rookie students. You better start getting used to tough opposition.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo!
Yes?
This insult to the Alchi family name will never be forgotten!
You've become conceited with age, Counsel. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. Boomer. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Nice. He's got a sword! You idiot! We've all got swords! 1,000 millennia may pass, and still the Yashi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. It's a katana, but I don't think they call it a katana. They just called it a sword. This is assuming if they were able to speak English. Or like, assuming that this is all Japanese are speaking, they would say sword, because katana means Japanese sword. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case. Thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern technology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. Oh, right, yeah. A few decades ago, they had an isolationist policy, no trade, but then knock knock, it's the United States with huge guns on boats, gunboats. Open the country. Stop having it be closed. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation, and new procedures are just... don't put too much faith in Western science, Your Honor. They still believe in phrenology. A new future awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asugi? Yes? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything of the wide world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. He won't last a day in England. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Ah, never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo... Oh, yes? In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency! It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty. Oh. This court is now adjourned. Epilogue time. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and, made it through that horrendous trial. Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. Ha ha ha. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. Pleasure's all mine, Kazuma. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yume University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. Oh, congratulations to both of you for Naruhodo-san's innocence. Hey, Susato, would you like to join us for some hamburgers? Ah, our trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know. Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much! If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out! Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate. Your father? Ah, yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mitokuba, judicial assistant to the defense. Speaking of Mikotoba... Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Oh, it's that guy. Not guy.
Naruhodo, you did an excellent job.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh no, it is who I should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend.
Good friend? Oh, yes. You mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yuma University, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson?
Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital.
Oh, you work together? I've never heard you mention that before.
Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world in science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot.
I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Why not? Of course I am. A Japanese man's sword is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. And cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. That reminds me, what's happened to the woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder.
Ah, yes, huh?
She should be tried by the Great Britain government.
It's not easy to tell you this, but...
What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all.
She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai.
What? Shanghai?
Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that.
But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Hosonaga! It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must But what's this all about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's gonna bring her to justice? Great Britain. A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away where our voices can't be heard. But why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the Friendship Treaty.
Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right.
Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? They're the British Empire. They can kind of do whatever they want. They've been doing whatever they want for years. Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our government's making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan.
I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her.
I don't believe it. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committed murder very seriously.
But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves.
Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it.
Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening, Cosmos Laboratory drink.
The Professor! You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Ryunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. Oh. In that case, might I suggest La Carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. Oh, do you have hamburgers? You're a detective, Osanaga-san, aren't you? They probably would have hamburgers at this point in time, right? Like they were just invented in Germany. It was a beef patty on toast. And they still serve those. And there's ketchup is illegal in that restaurant. Let's not worry about details for now. To La Carnival. Will you accompany us, Professor?
Of course. La Carnival's food is second to none.
I shall go and attend the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Oh, yes, thank you. So Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Kazuma. Yes, Ryunosuke. I just wanted to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. Ha 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 ha! I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? The defense was all your own work. Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not so sure about that. Huh? To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, be serious. If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. You have a natural talent for it. Being a defense lawyer, I mean. Oh, no, not me. All that tense verbal combat? I never want to go through that ever again. I just did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean that's the point? Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No.
What? Of course it's knowledge of the law. What the fuck are you talking about?
To believe? Believe in what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human, just like you. I'm only human, after all. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in, and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in, then... well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Believing in your client. Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stop believing in me. Well, you face seemingly hopeless situations time and time again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... Ah, you're still here, are you? Oh, Inspector Hosonaga. I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes. That too. So my what? What was that? So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma. Professor Mikotoba. Susato-san, who acted as my assistant. She'll be back. Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part. What the fuck, dude? He provided the evidence, the crucial evidence. It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. Ugh. Finally. Oh boy. I'm not playing that yet. I'll do this. We'll do this next time, guys.